Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to What the Duck. This is episode number 13. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been forever since we've done one of these bad boys. Actually, the last one we did was in Phoenix during the Captain's Draft 3 finals, and that is an embarrassing fact, gentlemen. Welcome back to the show. Suns fan, how art thou?
Hello, sir. How are you? Great, thank you.
Feeling good. I saw your team won and lost, so that's up and down of an
we're
evening.
out of the tournament. Thanks for bringing it up.
Sorry about that. I didn't catch that. So did Elite Wolves qualify? Is that actually what happened?
Well, I guess Archon DQ'd their match against Elite Wolves. So
Why?
I don't know, they didn't have 5 or something like that.
Oh, God. Okay.
I mean, I think they're having roster. Everybody's having roster changes. So
Even you?
Oh.
maybe.
Oh!
It'll be an interesting 2 weeks. Let me tell you.
Oh, look at that face!
Did you get Resolution to join you, and now you're gonna kick Resolution?
Oh no, Rezo's good.
That's
Rezo's
brutal.
Okay.
Love that guy.
There's one confirmed player.
Damn,
love me
Purge
some
is,
Ukrainian.
He's hunting. Be careful, Suns fan. This guy's gonna have you by the end of the episode.
Well,
oh, God.
I'm in a good place where I don't know anything, so I can be unbiased and ask whatever questions I want. It's
Yes,
kinda
by
nice.
all means, please do.
One good side, not going to majors.
Well, there you go. So when is the cutoff, Suns fan, for trading players here?
27th, I think. So we've got like 2 weeks.
All right, so you do have a little while here. Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And then there's Dota Pit coming up as well. So. that
oh,
might
yeah. Is anybody
instigate
going
some
to
changes.
that? What's the deal with Dota Pit?
What do you mean? Is anybody going to that?
I don't know. Is it all
We're going to the
teams?
LAN. Is it
Who
the
was the
LAN,
team?
or
Oh.
did it start yet?
No, I
It's
haven't-
already-
yeah,
it's already
just
been
the
going
LAN.
on.
It's only 2 days actually. It's only a 2-day LAN. And actually, it's interesting because it starts with a best of one.
So the
for the
quarterfinals is
single-
best of
for the
one?
bracket. Yeah.
Really?
From what I
So-
saw.
Fuck Dota Pit! Shit tournament! Don't care about it!
I've actually got the bracket right here. Virtus Pro Complexity, OG MVP Phoenix, Secret
Okay.
Na'Vi, and EG
Maybe,
Empire.
All right, I lied. It's not. It's single elimination.
Yeah,
I guess
single
that's what they
elim.
meant.
There's no way that's a best of one. That's
Somebody
wild.
tweeted incorrectly then.
It doesn't
I blame it on
explicitly
Empire.
say here on our one true source, Liquipedia. So who knows? But it should be interesting, especially with MVP Phoenix being there after their performance at the Major. Guys, we haven't done an episode about the Major except for that emergency power panel we did, which was kind of a mini What the Duck. Let's be real. That had the What the Duck feel with the Major vibe. So we did cover some Major stuff.
Indeed.
We
All
talked
right.
about some drama.
Let's talk
Well-
about it, huh?
Let's do this structured at least. Like, give us conversation topics, because there's literally
Okay.
billions of
All right.
major
All right.
related conversation topics.
Hold on a second. Let me pull up the list here because there is a list. Believe me, they cataloged it. I think we covered most of the James stuff. Most of that is pretty much water under the bridge at this point. One of the most positive things at the takeaway, though, was the top 6, 2 SEA teams, 2 NA teams. I think that's one of the most interesting storylines of the entire tournament. And I was glad that there was something like Dota related that was awesome, aside from all of the other bullshit that we read
Well,
about
if you think
on
about
Reddit,
everything Dota related was actually awesome about the Major. It's
That's
literally
true.
everything else that sucked balls, right?
Yeah, in a way.
Now.
One
I'm
of the-
too afraid to speak. They're mine.
One of the things we talked about a lot on the podcast that we did for my channel is we talked about coaches, basically. And for example, Mushi's team in the past was a little volatile in the picks that they had, but I think I heard Extinct was coaching them at Shanghai, but I'm not 100% on that, so I might be wrong. But
That's
I know
what I
that
heard
they did have a coach. So the coach focuses your players to stick to the same strategy, to work out strategies, to keep like mood up on your team. They had a coach and they did really well. I believe Phoenix did as well, but
Yeah.
they've had good runs in the past, so I wouldn't be surprised. Liquid had Bulba and Blitz helping out, and Blitz was also at the boot camp. And Secret obviously had a coach as well. One team that usually has a coach that didn't this time, I believe, was EG, right? So
yeah, they.
Yeah.
Wondering if I can say they chose not to. Shit, they chose not to get a coach this time. It's usually Bulba
Oh.
though. So.
I think we understand what you thought about
And
whether
Bulba
or not
won.
you should say.
Bulba won. I mean, EG still did really well. Top 3 is really
Yeah,
good.
they
so.
did great, but I think it really showed the value of coaches, I think, and maybe coaches going forward. But the hard part is you have to get a player that is like former captain, very good at drafting, understands the game at an extremely high level. And I'm not just saying like getting to TI level. I mean like understanding drafting better than almost any other player, and those people have to be your coaches. So I think coaches are starting to become a really big deal, and I think that's part of the reason all those teams did well.
Really? I feel like just being able to be in the booth motivating them is good, you know? Just be like, get in there, kid. Give it your all. Give it your pepper. Give it your pepper.
So you think it's the cheerleader effect? It's just having that positive energy, the morale booster is what gets you through those long hours, huh, Slacks?
Yeah, it's all about the pepper. You're doing great, kid. Get in there. You can give him a little massage. You know Charlie Yang's in there. Give him a little massage here and there. Perch, do you think that we should have coaches in the booth like Counter-Strike?
No, definitely not. I think that's wrong to do because then they could handle things like roach timers. They can instruct on moving around the map. They can do that, devote their full mental willpower to that, whereas players have to play while doing that. So it would, I think it would upset the balance. Like maybe if everyone did that, then it would be fair. But I think moving to that point on the professional level would change too much, and it would be like 6 players playing a 5-player game. I don't like that. I'd rather it's just the 5 that are there.
Wait, how are coaches? How do coaches work in Counter-Strike?
In Counter-Strike, the coach is in there, and he's running back and forth, and he's like, get them, kid! They're going on the north side! I want you putting fire on the kill point!
I know it was like that for
shit,
Halo.
boring shit.
Like the old MLG days when it was Halo and StarCraft as the big titles, the Halo coaches were always the ones that talked like more than the players during the game. They would call out the positioning of all the enemies, and they
Item
were...
respawns were really important because then you know, like, you take a timer as soon as somebody picks up rocket launcher because everybody wants to get a rocket launcher. So you make sure that you move to where rocket launcher respawns like 30 seconds ahead of time. That way, as soon as it respawns, you get it. It's basically like runes, but obviously you can't just look at the clock and know when it's coming. You have to like take note of when it gets picked up.
CS also has like an actual pause time. Like it's a natural thing as opposed to Dota where there's no natural pause time unless like the only time you pause is something's wrong, right? Doesn't seem right.
Yeah, but pausing in Dota for long periods of time just messes everything up. You like forget where people are in the map and things like that. Like it actually has a it's a huge deal.
No.
Are you just saying that because you never know where anybody is on the map, or?
Shut up, Purge. No, I was just picturing a coach be like, "Pause it for the love of God!" Just like.
Yeah,
I think it'd bring so much more hype.
Wait, you mean like if teams had timeouts, like every team had 2, like up to 1 minute strat pause per game? That would be kind of weird.
Yeah, but if you think about it, like you'd have to restrict when they could pause, because why not just pause in the middle of a freaking fight, as opposed to Counter-Strike where you're always pausing in buy time. Like there's actual natural thing in the game.
Or what they do is as soon as you see like your opponents, if they show signs of pushing, you could pause the game and be like, all right, team, do we want to show up and defend this tower, or is it a better idea to go across the map and roach? And if you don't make that decision fast and naturally, then that's giving you, as a slow thinker, a benefit over a team that's...
How about better yet, they introduce a 30-minute halftime, where at 30 minutes, the game pauses for a minute strat
Yeah, that
session.
sounds really dumb.
What if you're in the middle of a fight?
These are all dumb ideas.
And pause. Cheerleaders, please come out and dance. Cosplayers going ham. Come on, you know that would have people.
This is a Shanghai
in.
thing that I missed, or
it would...
Yeah, you look at get new people in the Dota. Have some cosplayers go out there and dance in the middle of it. Reenact the last team fight. Oh, Queen of Pain, here I come. Like, that's fucking tight. You know you want that, Purge. I see your face. He's all about it. All right, we're so off topic.
Twitch chat would love
we're
that. Okay, so we're focusing on the positive here, Slacks. And one of the other cool things now that we've had a couple of majors, right? We're starting to see the major effect come into full swing. And Secret has been one of these teams that has consistently said, okay, we don't want to do the grind. We want to play the big tournaments. We want to spend our time practicing. We want to stay out of the limelight. And then when the tournament hits, we're going to go ham. We're going to fucking win the big ones. And they're kind of doing that now. If you look at their history, they played MLG World Finals, first place in October. Early November, they did Nanyang, first place. Frankfurt Major, second place, not bad. And here we are, Shanghai 2016, early March, first place. There's some credence to this idea of playing the big tournaments, spending that time studying the game, not grinding hard. I don't know, Purge, you're giving that face like, no, they're just good.
I totally, I think they're just good. That's basically what I think it is. Like, I totally think that a lot of teams shouldn't overgrind. I think it just comes down to, do they feel like playing online tournaments 4 days a week? And I think it's safe to say that no player wants to once they start making enough money, because then it comes down to a bit of a grind. And I'm sure it does also have impacts on how well they perform and also how much of their strats they reveal. Now, I don't necessarily think that's what made them win Shanghai, but, you know, if they win enough tournaments, they don't really have to play all the small stuff.
Yeah. So how No, go ahead, Slacks.
I wish they lost.
For what reason?
Okay.
For what reason? Because they don't work hard enough for it, dude. Come on. You're just going to show up to the big tournaments and then that's it and then steal the prize money away? Why don't you
Well, how do you define work?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, how did these teams scrim? Like, if you don't, a lot of teams play in other smaller tournaments to practice because, you make a little bit of money, your opponents are trying hard, they're not saving a lot of strats in general. How do you practice if you're secret? They didn't play in another tournament between the majors. Is it just all scrims and you just hope teams don't share your picks?
I've heard some rumors that a lot of top teams don't scrim a shitload anymore. That they play a lot of solo queues to increase their individual skill. That they
really.
I don't know what teams they are. I can't remember, but I've heard reports like that.
Well, even those teams, they go through phases where they will and then they won't, and they'll do it right before a tournament, and a lot of it has to do with like burnout, I think. Like,
right.
Secret's actually a great example. Not that they were playing a ton of tournaments, but they were not synergizing well right before the major. I picked them for bottom 8, honestly. Like, I could see them being top 6, but like no more than that. But having somebody like Theben come in and give them a brand new perspective, and it's important. Another thing to mention about coaches: if the players respect them, like the captain Puppy respects the coach, they're going to actually listen to him. And that's somebody that hasn't been a part of the process for God knows how long. And if there've been issues, then you can bypass that pretty easily just by listening to the coach.
I'll never forget watching QQQ interact with Vici at the summits, especially Summit 3, and like the way he talked to the team as the coach. Like the team, you could tell just like the look on their face when he talks, they fucking listen. And I heard rumors that the way, like it's a 6-man team. It's not like, hey, we're the players, this is the coach. It's the 6 of us are on this team, but this guy's in charge of strategy, not mechanics, kind of, which was kind of impressive. It was cool to see them even after games where they won pretty handily, him still giving them that kind of, obviously pointing out things that they messed up, and there's always improvements. There was a different feel there.
That's the thing though. Like, it also depends on personality of the team, and I'm interested to see once coaches become more of a thing, if it'll be less successful if you're doing it full time, because you have that let's say Theben theoretically was a full-time coach for Secret. You have the possibility that over time people will tune him out, just like any other player on the team, as opposed to somebody brand new that you respect, and then instantly all these new ideas come into play. Into play.
And there could be like drama issues, like what if Theben has like something not related to the team drama with one of the 5 players, then that could affect whether they listen to him. But if he just shows up for the tournament and busts his ass and only talks about strategy and has good ideas, then you don't have to worry about the other human things that could happen to the coaching. That's the kind of stuff you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Secret deserved to win. I asked Pylai Dai for an interview one time and he didn't do it, so I told him that I'd get him somehow.
Was he like in the bathroom with you or something like that?
No,
or?
not this time. No. Oh, bastard. Anyway, so yeah, they did fine. I don't know. I like the story of Liquid though. Should they be invited to the tournament? No. Then they start climbing. They start beating everybody. Here comes Liquid. Liquid versus Alliance. Boom, bitch. Take them out. They're in the finals. If they won that, it would have been just like the OG story. And it makes me think that these tournaments are all actually conspiracies. I mean, there's always some story of who's going to win. EG versus Alliance. Is it at Starladder? Was it, a coincidence that they were both owned by the same company and Alliance had a better story about it? I'm not going to be that guy.
All right, when did the conspiracy start then? What year?
It's always going. Valve is like, hey, we really need Secret to win this tournament. And
okay, so TI4 was like the worst story of all time.
It was when it started, dude. China's like a forest fire. It burns down everything. We rebuild. When they won TI4, they're like, redo! We're controlling who wins the tournaments. Mark my words, people.
All right.
It's the Illuminati, all right?
Thanks, Slacks. Great contributions, per usual. Purge, I want to talk about SEA Dota, man. Is this a fluke? I mean, this is nuts. 2 teams in the top 6. I think some people would say that this wouldn't have happened at all, ever. Super low chance. Do you think this is a sign that scene is finally onto something, or is this just right place, right time?
It not happening ever is ridiculous. Like, all it takes is one team to have a really good run, and both teams had really good runs. I think Phoenix, the 5 players on Phoenix are all ultra talented. The only player that hasn't always been one of the best in Korea is Dubu, their captain. Mm-hmm. But that's because like when we got to Korea, he'd only been playing Dota like 8 months or something. He's that guy's a fresh player.
Damn.
He's like one of the newest players in the professional scene, as far as I'm aware.
And he's
I
captain.
think he played.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I think he played extremely crisp. I mean, he's been in the team house as long as we were in Korea, so that's like over 2 years now.
Mm-hmm.
He's lived there, and all the other players on the team are pretty much all the best players in Korea. I would even argue that their current roster has more individual skill than their previous Phoenix roster that got top 6 at TI. I think they're a little better than that.
Okay.
But pretty close still.
Will China get any invites?
Well, hold up. In terms of Fnatic, I think Fnatic was also very talented, but I think that's more of the coaching thing. And I think they stuck to their roles. Last time they played, like at TI, for example, they kept swapping roles like 4 times over the course of 3 months or something. They'd put like Mushi on support, then he would switch to like mid and then back to support. And like it was very clear they had like stability issues and roster issues and stuff like that. But I think they did a strategy and they didn't like panic swap roles or panic swap picks last second when they started losing. They just stuck to it, and that's what got them a big placing. So I don't think that's going to stop happening occasionally. I don't know if they'll be a top team forever or anything like that, but I'm happy to see them doing well.
Yeah, I forgot how much I like watching SEA Dota. It's just such a unique play style and environment. Now we've been doing the SEA Kappa coverage, so it's...
How's that been going?
It's pretty interesting. The opening round is best of 1. It's a 16-team double elim bracket, and round 1 in the upper bracket is BO1, and all of the lower bracket is BO1. So the opening rounds have been interesting. A couple of crazy games. I think the very first match was 9.5 minutes, so that was good. One of the quickest games on this patch, I think. Fnatic was up against the team that qualified through the Singapore qualifier and almost lost. It was... actually a nail biter with multiple back and forth throws, and they just barely won at the end. So, yeah, it's been fun. It's been some good old fashioned 4 a.m. hooting and hollering, man. That's what I live for. Life on the edge, right, Slacks?
Life on the edge, my friend. It's the only place I know where to live.
So about China, do you think they'll get invited, Slacks?
To what?
The next major? No, they'll invite some teams. I mean, I'm sure you're being facetious, Suns fan. Surely.
No, I don't think so. Okay,
you don't think a single Chinese team will be invited?
Look at it this way. I mean, it's possible. It's based on like there's so many.
Literally zero.
Well, we don't exactly know what the criteria for Valve's choices are, right? Because there's always disagreements. Like, remember a year ago when Rave had played well over the course of the entire year, and they didn't get picked over Fnatic, which was a brand new team.
They didn't play really well over the course of the year. They had played really well the previous 5 months.
Let me rephrase.
They got really high placing at DAC. And
they played really well in comparison to Fnatic, who had literally done nothing at that point, which were Team Malaysia.
But they're still in the same region.
But there were some tournament performances that were right before the invites, and they were playing about as good as each other. Yeah, Rave did amazing in February at DAC, or I think, but the invites come in
let me finish my point. The point is, Valve can come in and do whatever they want. They can. So the Team Malaysia choice from last year was mostly based on potential and on paper than actual results because they were a brand new freaking team. They're literally a month old.
Right.
Like, you can't argue against that. So for a Chinese team to make it as a direct invite, that is the criteria that has to be used by Valve. So the question is, will they? Because the roster, I can't even keep track of what's going on with the Chinese roster shuffle right now. Like LGD.
Oh yeah.
It's like a bunch of teams are changing rosters, right? So if you're going based on results / teams actually sticking together, then you'd literally just take the top 8 at Shanghai, right? But I don't think that's going to be the case. They're going to pick one Chinese team based on potential and on paper, and then one of these two teams, either OG or Alliance, I assume, are going to get screwed over, and they'll have to go through regionals.
Are you saying, what do you mean when you said one would be picked based on potential?
So, one Chinese team.
You think only one Chinese team is going to get invited out of the, how many invites, 6 or 8?
Yeah.
8.
There's 8.
8 invites. So he's saying one Chinese team that will, until like before the invites, they will not have existed as a team with that current roster. But you'll look at it and be like, holy shit, how could this team not be good? And they'll be invited based off of that merit.
Well, okay, so my theory is the major invites are based on the previous ones to some degree. And I think it's the top 6 get auto-invited to the next one. So just take the top 6. That's 2 SEA, 2 NA. You have 2 additional teams, which can be wild cards or on, like I was talking about with one Chinese team and then a European team probably. But if you're going based on results only, it would be Alliance and OG as the last 2, right? But I think one of those teams will not make it in favor of a Chinese team.
You know, I don't really see that as fair. I feel like if you're inviting, the previous invites are all based on who won the last one. You know, I think the safest way to do it is not do top 8, get auto invites. I would say guarantee top 4 at least auto invited.
No, I'm saying it's top 6 right now. That's how they're doing it, at least currently. Yeah.
I would, and then do the last 2 slots based on recent merit.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
And then if it's a Chinese team, so be it. If it's not, then no Chinese teams get invited.
Well, no, I'm saying I think that Valve, no matter what, will invite one Chinese team, even if they don't deserve it.
Yes.
Like, let's say
that was my point.
Let's say all these Chinese teams do literally nothing. They don't even play. One Chinese team is still getting invited as a top 8.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
I agree. I think at least
Which
one.
means OG or Alliance are the team out, right? That would have to go through regionals. Which they'd probably be fine in regionals, but still.
And it would probably be Alliance because winning a major outweighs recent achievements from Alliance, and if they placed evenly in this. So yeah, I would say Alliance is out for a Chinese team. I'll agree with you, Suns fan. Painful as that is to say.
It's so hard to decide which one though, because so many teams got eliminated on a freaking best of one. Like, and that wasn't even the round 1 of loser bracket. Like, it's not even really fair. Kind of sucks that they weren't able to do best of 3s at least. Like, I totally understand first round best of 1. That's so much extra time, but to also do round 2 loser bracket best of 1 elimination, it's like, how are those people supposed to get a fair shot? Like, so many teams that could have gone farther just lost one game and then they're out, even though they got in that position. Like, OG started in winner bracket, for God's sake. They lost 2-1 to the tournament winners. They went into loser bracket and they lost one game against VP and they're out of the tournament. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
that's so messed up.
That's pretty brutal. I can't disagree. Slacks.
Yeah.
I feel like we're alienating you with this conversation about China, and I'm so sorry, but
I just don't give a shit. We're good. They're fine.
Flex loves China. Watch, a year from now, when the next major's in China, he's going to be vying for it.
it's going to come full circle.
Whatever, dude. Don't invite me to a tournament. I don't give a fuck about your tournament. See ya. That's my plan. Just kidding. Purchase face is so angry. Jesus.
Oh man.
No, I just said I said the wrong thing about the teams. OG lost
ahead,
to Fnatic in a best of 3. They didn't lose in a best of 1. But there were teams that came from winner bracket and lost in a best of 1 and got knocked out. So
Can we talk about
That's
the
why I made that
tournament
face.
overall before we move on?
Yeah, no, please, Slacks. I just wanted to start on some positive things. So now let's break it open. Whatever you want, buddy. Open up
Break this
Pandora's
open.
box.
Okay, time for me to talk. I haven't talked in a while. Time for me to talk. Manila Major. I think that it is going to be the best major that we will ever have in Dota. All right? Here's my reasoning why. Valve has to have an incredible major after the last one, because it was a shit show. You could say it any other way, but when Valve puts a post on the thing saying, we fucked up, it was a shit show. The talent did great job talent, English talent, really good job. It was a production shit show. Valve is going to sink every single penny that billion-dollar company can sink into the next major. Production-wise, it's going to be fucking unreal. They're going to, Illuminati some great people for the finalists. It's going to be real good. Just kidding on that part. So that's my theory. Next major is going to be ham. It's going to be nuts. But I'm worried about it. I'm very worried about the next major. And the reason why I'm worried about it is because I believe that they are going to be terrified of having anything fun at a major after last one. I love James. James, great guy. But the last major was this thing where it got pushed too far. People were terrified. They're like, oh, God, what do we do? This is way too off the wall for a major. And I just don't I'm very scared that the next major is going to be hyper professionalized. And I think that that's terrible for scene growth. I think that you alienate a shitload of people from the community. You only get the most invested people that are already in Dota. How do you get new people to be interested in Dota when it's hyper serious? And that's where I don't want it to go. So there's my 2 cents. What do you guys think about that?
I think I think you guys are both wrong then. Like, I'm not worried at all about that outcome.
Really?
I think the only reason that... Alright, so there's a couple different ways to make a panel good. I don't know that much about it, so I'm kind of guessing partially. Now, step 1 is fill it with people that are good at bantering and shit like that. And James is good at bantering, but it's non-PC at all. He makes a bunch of inappropriate jokes. Nobody else that works in the scene, you could think of like all the people that get invited to a TI. Nobody gets even close to that with the exception of Sunsfan, but he knows when to turn it off, in my opinion.
And he's also not in the running for hosting the panel at TI.
Oh,
of the time,
damn.
Yeah, you're not going to open the show and talk about masturbating. There's no way you'd ever do that. When we did the newbie stream, everything was completely fine. We just told PC jokes. We made fun of the same frickin' picks that we always had to do. Stuff like that. Like, a lot of people know how to turn that stuff off, and James chose not to. He may know how to turn it off, but he may have also chosen not to. Like, that is one aspect of making a panel good. So talent invites, yeah, we all need to be better at bantering and making it fun and shit like that.
Well, I'm not talking about talent, and let me reiterate. Talent that was there did a great job. I didn't think that they were like scared after James left and anything. I'm talking about Valve. I believe is going to look for a much more professional on everything, and try to say don't banter, don't.
I completely disagree. I don't think it'll go that way. Like they understand the implications of that. Like they're not going to bully the talent into being quiet about jokes. They want it to be funny. They want it to be interesting. They just don't want you to tell jokes about being a bottom bitch or whatever. Like that's over the line. And another thing that's going to really hurt banter is how comfortable the talent is and how rested you are, and if you're not stressed. And those are all things that I'm sure they didn't have a lot of at Shanghai. Sleeping low hours. The booth Aaron was ultra hot. Apparently, it was like 80 to 90 degrees all the time. There was a shit show, tons of breaks. All these things make your talent more stressed out, more unhappy. And when that stuff happens, it actually affects your ability as a creative person to be creative and funny and easygoing and stuff. So I'm sure that all of those tech issues also trickled down into people just sucking at banter or being a little bit more tired. So as long as they are better at production, I think there's going to be a huge improvement in terms of enjoyable. Unless you're just trying to segue this into like the only person that can save the panel is me, Sir Action Slash.
No, I'm not saying that at all. And I think you're still kind of misinterpreting what I'm saying. I'm not saying that the talent doesn't have the ability or several factors prevent them from doing so. I'm saying that I believe that at the next major, the overall theme, like how they want it to feel, is going to be hyper-professional.
Let me put it the way that I was thinking.
All right.
Okay,
all right.
So this is my opinion. I agree with Slacks on a lot of this stuff because, like, Valve right now are angry with how they're looking, right? I mean, it's a very natural reaction. It's how they should feel. Part of it was their fault. Part of it wasn't. Like, some of it was out of their hands. Let's not kid ourselves. But their reaction is going to be to make things more professional. It's been that way since the prize pool has gotten out of hand, right? It's getting ridiculous every year, and it's gotten more professional every year. And I think personally that is horrible for Dota specifically. I mean, if you look at every esport, they're doing the exact same thing. Everybody in suits, everybody being super PC, everybody, like, there's not much banter in general in these other games, at least from what I watch. And it's just going to get worse now, I think.
I don't know. I mean, the whole thing that I'm just scared that the next major, I still think it's going to be the best major we'll ever have. I'm worried that they're going to be like, okay, the last major was this big fuck up. Let's make sure that everything is super tight, super professional. And then because the next major is going to do fantastically, because they're putting all their resources into it, that's going to become the new standard.
Right.
For
It'll reinforce that mindset.
Right.
Yeah.
It's going to say that major was super successful, and it was because we were professional, not because they sunk everything into it.
Exactly. But I think the thing that they're missing, and a lot of people are missing, is the fact that being professional doesn't actually help the scene in any way. Like, if you really think about it, think about new players coming in. Like, why would they pick... First of all, Dota is super hard to get into. It's the most hard game ever, probably, to ever get into, at least at this level, right? Are you gonna be more interested in a stream that's a little bit more casual, or making more jokes, or just super ultra professional, trying to be ESPN? Well, why do we try to be like real sports?
The reason they try to be real sports is because the money is there now. So when the money is this big, when your prize pools are like the same size as Wimbledon, and you start drawing those kind of comparisons, you get attention from big media outlets. And when ESPN want to run pieces on what you're doing, when big magazines want to do, but when not CNN, but news networks want to do, spots on your game, you don't want it to look like a bunch of kids wearing T-shirts making fart jokes into a microphone.
Right.
This is the
who are you marketing towards then? Like, how does that help?
It just helps the general image of gaming. They're looking broad picture, dude. Valve doesn't make just Dota. They make games in general. Breaking that stereotype of gaming just being for like kids, a bunch of immature dudes with bad posture that eat junk food. Like they want to break away from that.
Of course, but there's also a limit, right? Like you don't need to cross the line.
I don't totally disagree with you. I'm just saying it's not completely useless. That is the positive of why they want it to look like that, in my opinion.
And I agree with you on that too, but I think it's the same thing. Like, too inappropriate this time, but you can also go too professional too, and that's all I'm worried about, is that differentiation. But Purge, I mean, I really look to you for this, because I think you're probably one of the best people in the community for drawing in new people. They go to your guides, and you have a very professional product. So what do you think about that with the new people? Do you think that, like, having that kind of aura of kind of more serious.
He looks so
and all that.
disgusted with you right now.
No, I'm just thinking about it. I just doubt that a tournament being super huge is really the main driver for new players coming into the game. I think that's false thinking. I think the newbie stream, for example, is a really good way for new players that already know of Dota to get some knowledge and get into it. But I think if you're making your tournament big with the expectation being like, we're going to grow the player base because this tournament is so big, I think that's like kind of a side benefit. Like even the people that play Dota alone, very few of them actually watch pro games.
Yes.
And like
Why
I feel like
is
there's
that, do you think?
Because people don't give a shit. Like a lot of people don't give a shit about watching the best players play the game. There's a large percentage of gamers that play the game play a game casually, and there's even a percentage of Dota players that play the game because they like it, not because they play it for competitive reasons. So, and half the time I don't even watch tournaments. Like I'll watch the biggest ones, or I love watching games if I'm there. But if I could like sit down and play a game with my friends, would I rather just not play with them and watch a tournament instead? In most cases, I'd rather play myself. You know. Yeah. So I don't know. I just feel like the largest tournaments, it's not as much about growing the player base. It's about pushing esports in a way where it's eventually going to be, because someday esports will be football on Sundays. Like it'll be 40 years in the future, 50 years in the future. There's going to be a day where gaming is the same as those things, even though it's digital and online. And you just can't make inappropriate jokes, and you can push it that way, and we can be the same people, and you can put us in suits, but it doesn't mean that it has to be dry. Like you can have suits and you can mess around, and it can still be about the video game and a bunch of friends having fun, but it doesn't have to be bad. Like I don't see it as such a negative thing.
The reason that I disagree is because it has been dry, in my opinion.
That's because we suck at being not dry. That's the issue. The issue is that
I don't think that's true, man. No, like a lot of the people in these panels, they're actually really good at that stuff. They're not doing it in the majors.
So this is the disconnect, though, and this is a point that I wanted to bring up. Is it's almost analogous to Dota in the sense that you can't just take the 5 best players in the world, put them on a team, and expect them to be the best team in the world. It doesn't translate that well. I mean, there's break points with individual skill, but you need to have some sort of synergy. You need to get along as a team, need to communicate, all those kind of things. Panels are the exact same way. You can put 5 people on there that are individually funny. Maybe if they're professionals in broadcasting, they can all banter and get along, but it's not that easy to sit down next to someone you've never really met before, never really made jokes with, and even if they're kind of a funny guy, you don't know their humor, you don't know their mannerisms, and that's what a lot of the panels feel like when you're just rotating casters that have an off shift. And I think individually, a lot of the people on the panels are really good, but when you're constantly just saying, oh, Draskell's off the shift, well, cool, get him on the panel. Oh, hey, LD's available, and you're just constantly putting 5 people together that don't necessarily have any synergy. Some of them know each other better than others. You know, if it's like an example where I'm at the BTS house, I live with LD and Gods, and then there's 2 people on the panel that we don't know very well. It can get hard to not become 3 dudes that are talking a lot and you have all these, you know, inside jokes that people understand, and then you're alienating the other 2. Like those sort of things happen, and that's not because anyone is individually bad at their job. It's just because there's no synergy or forethought put into how you're putting the panel together. What are we trying to achieve with this panel? Do we want it to be funny? Do we want it to be serious? Let's design that image and build the panel to fit that image, not just make the panel an afterthought of, hey, all these people are here, let's just throw them on there and tell them to...
No, I completely agree with what you're saying, but the problem is the image that they're going for is wrong, I think.
Which image is that?
The too professional image.
Okay, but what do you... Like, we just said that the reason that it's not funny is because the people don't know each other well enough, and the shifts rotate.
No, that's not the only reason, though. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, but you're saying...
I'm saying that's one huge oversight, right, for making panels, because nobody does that. You're right.
But you're saying the people at the top are telling them to be boring. Like, is that what you're saying?
It's not necessarily, but it's implied. Absolutely.
It's absolutely. Right, this is where I think you're wrong here. Every single panel that I've ever been on, it is always talked about to have energy, to be funnier, have banter. It's always pushed. Every panel I've ever been on, if it's not funny or interesting, it's always talked about. Talk about it afterwards. Mm-hmm. I think from the viewer aspect, if you're not there and you're not working with the people that push you on panel, then it seems like, oh, all you see is the professionalism and the boring, and you assume it's a top-down thing, and I really don't think it's like that. I think I think it's what Andrew said.
I think that you're right on the past panels. That's how it has been. You know, we need more energy, we need more fun. But I'm saying that I'm worried that after Shanghai, that will change. Is what I'm saying.
I'm not worried about that at all. I don't. So? The people running it aren't idiots. They watch Dota as well. They know that the panels are boring most of the time, and they know that that's not interesting. Like, it's constantly talked about behind the scenes. Like, I do the same thing. I watch a panel, I'm like, what is going wrong this panel? Why is this not funnier? And then I think about the way that my panels go. I'm like, man, I didn't tell any jokes. I didn't banter with anybody. Somebody bantered with me, but I didn't banter back. That was my bad to make it not more funny. Like, those are all things that all panelists should be thinking about and do think about. It's just, we're not, like, individually, I think it's literally what Andrew said. It's like, you're rotating shifts. Like, think about how sports works. It's like the same 4 guys will be on the panel with each other every fucking time they're on camera. And it's the same 4 guys, and they hang out all the time, and they do a show together. Those guys are like 4 friends that always do, like us, when we hang out all the time for What the Duck, and then we hung out in Arizona, it makes a huge difference in our ability to banter. Like, our ability to banter has just improved massively as we spend more and more time together. Like, that is the problem. So, like, maybe the issue is that we have all these fractured studios. We don't have enough talent where we can put all good people on the same panels, and they only work with each other. They don't work with outside sources.
I mean,
because every studio has different sets of people.
Yeah, and it's a good point. You look at the RU Hub as a difference. I mean, obviously, I don't speak Russian, but a lot of people tell me that their panels tend to be more light. They make a lot of jokes, and there isn't as much pressure for it to be professional. Some of that is cultural, of course. There's a big difference in, our culture versus, Russian and CIS cultures. But it's still like they work together. The RU Hub is most of the big players in that space. And it seems like they have sort of achieved that level of that they all kind of are on the same page a little bit more than the English-speaking scene, which is way more fragmented. But I don't know. It's also just different. The economics of their space is way different than ours as well.
I mean, I get what you guys are saying, that kind of having that disconnect, not having that disconnect of, he's a good panelist or a good caster, and expecting people to do both. I mean,
yeah, that's hard too.
So in the future, should we just should we hire out panelists? Is that it? I'm a Dota panelist. I'm not too good at casting.
It does become a function.
Panel,
it does become a function of cost at some point when you're, it's efficient to do it that way, where you're rotating casters into the panel because you can get away with having less people and you still have variety on camera. But as things get more serious and we push forward, if the fundamental question is, okay, everything at the tournament is great, everything's running fine, but this panel is boring as fuck, what do we do? I think that's not a bad area to start dabbling into. I mean, what about the idea of having shifts? You have an A panel and a B panel, not that one's better than the other, but it's just so you don't have the same people doing 12-hour days every day.
Well, I think in that sense, then people, and I think this is fine, those people don't cast. They're there to be panel only.
And so
right?
there are some people that are panel, like Merlini, I think. I don't think he cast at all at Shanghai, did he? I think he was all panel.
Well, he prefers to do panel only.
Right. And there are a few people, but it's changing that idea from, okay, we've got the host and 1 or 2 panelists and then 3 rotating seats versus we've got a panel of 4 people that is a mixture of a group of 6 so somebody can have a break, and then a rotating seat that's a player or a community member or whatever.
The inherent issue here is the person putting together the panel doesn't have experience with any of these people. Or at least not as a collective group, right?
Yeah.
Like you can't just say, "Oh, I'm gonna pick this guy because I think they'll work well together." They haven't actually done it together.
I mean, that's why being a talent scout is not an easy job, man. Your job is to watch shit and know how people know. Like you need to plan ahead of time, and I think part of that is getting people in the loop and not just saying, "All right, this is the group. Here you go. You're hosting this panel. Come up with some jokes and try and the way I would do it is you find somebody, like let's say Red Eye is definitely your host. You say, okay, you go to him. Who are your top few choices as panelists? You start building the web out that way, and you start to put the puzzle together. But you need to interface with the people that are going to be leading the panel instead. I mean, I'm just assuming that that's how it works. I don't know how much they interface with Red Eye. I don't really know him that well, but you get the vibe that it's kind of you wake up the day before the tournament and okay, guys, here's the plan. Boom, here's the textbook, and then you try and go for it. I mean, that's sort of what we heard about like the noob panel from, what was it, TI4 and stuff, those stories.
And Shannon, how do you get past the criticism that you just said to further? You said like the people organizing it don't know everybody. How do you know everybody and how they interact? That'd be like you have to force all of the people that you invite to an event, like 10 people, and make them hang out and see how they work together. Like
you have tryouts. Absolutely.
Tryouts?
Yeah. Why not?
I love it, dude. I actually love it. I'm in.
Every other major industry does that, right?
Will they?
That kind of stuff.
They'll get people in a call together, and then they'll do a tryout cast.
They can do it even in person, like before.
People
are there a week before the. Yeah, I mean, those people. No, what I'm saying is those people are going to be invited anyway, right? You just have to find the right mesh of people.
So you take the 10 people that have already been invited, and then you get them together, and then you work them together a little bit.
Yeah, you literally have like a 15-minute fake segment, which is good for like prepping as well, right? And just testing the production, and you see if the chemistry is right on the panel. That's as simple as that. I mean, none of that is even done at all.
But then if you make a decision last minute and then you change the schedule and then somebody gets left out because they performed shitty during their small tryout segment, then all of a sudden
awkward conversation.
then that person's gonna complain or be upset that they got slighted because they.
So
had,
if
they
we're
did
worried
bad
about people being
like,
upset, then we shouldn't be trying to improve anything.
well, I mean, then if you invite them in the first place and then they fail to try out a little bit and they get edged out a little bit because they did do you see how it's kind of weird? Then now you're getting into talent management areas, and then from talent management aspect, then you have to in some way have that declared in the contract when they sign in the first place. It's just getting so complicated.
Well, I see where you're coming from, Purge, but at the same time, I have seen on like panels that I've worked where sometimes producers are almost like. It feels like they're nervous to say things to talent sometimes because they don't want to upset them or make like.
I would agree.
And that's really difficult, and bridging that gap kind of comes with this territory. I think I don't know that sparing people's feelings is of the utmost priority. Like I would.
No, I wasn't talking about feelings. It was more like inviting somebody to work and then them not being used, because then that's going to create friction, and then they might get upset about the tournament organizers and comment that to other casters, which may affect morale and may hurt banter and all this other shit.
It is a slippery slope, but
not saying that stuff is not okay, but I'm saying it's going to be a result of
you make a good
controlling people that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although I also think the idea of having quote unquote backups, like if someone gets sick, for example, usually a lot of productions bring the bare bones of, okay, this is what we need for if everything goes according to plan, if nobody has some sort of a health issue, if nobody needs a break or whatever. I mean, is that a ridiculous idea to have a talent that comes in and, can whenever inevitably someone gets sick at every event, right? Has those moments when they don't want to do the panel, but there's no one else to fill. Is it ridiculous to have somebody that's on maybe 20% of the time as like a float person?
I mean, that's usually when I just step up and take an extra 20%. So that's why I'm best as a major invite.
Yeah,
boom.
I mean, if we're talking about competing with traditional sports and using ESPN and all that stuff, we should be doing literally everything that they do, if that's what they want, Yeah. And that includes
they've been figuring out for years.
That includes inviting like more personalities, because in all likelihood you have enough money to do that. Honestly,
we don't know that.
I don't know.
I mean, well, think about like the drama thread about how much all the production stuff costs, how much the hotels were. We don't know how much of that is Perfect World paying for it, and we don't know how much of that is Valve paying for it.
Well, okay, yeah, the Shanghai thing is kind of weird because of the whole Perfect World dynamic. It's just weird in general.
They listed like how many tens of millions of dollars in hotel costs and laundry. They said they were charged by the hotel like $1.1 million for fucking laundry for all the people there.
Right.
Like, who's paying for that? Somebody's got to pay for that.
That's
nuts.
The
tournament, like, Valve probably paid at least the prize pool. That's $3 million. That's the
cool
small
thing,
bill.
The thing that I like about TI is that you know how much they're making. Right?
Well, yeah.
That's part of the problem as well, because then everybody gets really bitchy about it. They're like,
exactly.
I know how much money you made, therefore it's
there's obviously that dynamic, but
I think transparency. Spend the money.
I think transparency does help. Like if you want to actually grow this to be something, something more than it is now.
I think transparency is in terms of how much you're earning from an event is usually bad. If you're paying everybody well, then I don't think you need transparency at all. That's where the problem is. So transparency about if people are getting paid enough should come from the internal staff, I feel. But you don't have to tell everybody how much you're paying people, because then all the average people get to make a choice on whether or not they believe that everyone should be getting paid that much. And those people usually aren't as experienced in that area of work, and they don't know what normal rates are. So I get it. You think there should be lots of transparency, but I kind of disagree sometimes, because then there's Reddit threads like, oh, Valve should be doing this because we raised this much money for the prize pool. We know they're getting this much. But then they're spending $1 million on fucking laundry, or spending millions of dollars on hotels.
And it's impossible.
All those costs are there.
The problem with that stuff is Valve can't reveal all of the information, right? There are certain financial things that have to stay private. So once some of that stuff gets out and a dialogue forms, you don't know which way it's going to go. And a lot of times you can never really disclose the full story anyway. So it just ends up being another one of those unsolved Reddit mysteries that everyone's all pissed off about, and then just move on with their lives. And that's not really good PR for anyone, I would say.
Right. Well, anyway, I just think the next major will be what every major after it will be, because they're going to put 200% of their effort into it. So whatever we set up the next major to be will be our standard, because it will be the best major ever.
You know why? Sorry, if you have something else, you can finish.
No, go ahead.
I think the one reason the next major is going to be fucking amazing is because it's in the Philippines. Because there are so many Dota fans there. Like, compared to Frankfurt Major, where the stadium was not even close to filled the first 4 days. Like, there was less than 1,000, 2,000 people there the first couple days because it was a weekday.
Yeah.
But I am, like, so sure that the stadium is going to be fucking packed. Unless the scalping shit gets out of control and people literally can't get access to tickets. But I'm so sure there's going to be tons and tons of passionate fans there.
Oh,
100%. It's always been one of the biggest viewer bases in the whole world. So that for that reason alone, shit's going to be really high energy, I think.
Yep. Yeah, you're totally right, man.
Why are you scared?
It's gonna be scary, man.
Scary because the fans are really intense. Like it's not like it's not like TI where the fans are all there and there's a bunch of them. They're kind of like, hey, I think I saw that guy on YouTube. Cool. It's more like, holy shit, they're in the Philippines. And you can get mobbed, man. It's a lot of people that are really excited about Dota.
It's similar to what Smash would go through in Peru. He literally just gets overrun.
Yeah.
Right? I think that's going to be the case for a lot of people.
Well,
and it's
from what I've heard from
as scary as that might be, it'll be fun to experience it at least once.
It's gonna be
it'll
fun.
Be exhilarating.
This is one of those majors where it's like,
minutes.
even if I don't get invited, I think I need to find a way to go to this thing. Like I want to see what it's like. I want to experience that level of high octane Dota fans. I mean, I've seen that footage of their LAN cafes, man. People getting fist fights from losing pubs with each other. Like that's. If that's even a microcosm of what happens.
Slacks that one fucking time I played Arc Warden against Techies. I would have punched him for that one.
All right.
Sunsfan too. Yeah, you were like, I'm gonna duel offlane Dragon Knight with a normal offlane hero, and then
I almost
like,
carried.
I'm gonna play roaming Techies.
I almost carried.
What a shit
Have
game.
you ever killed a man, Purge?
I would have killed you for that game for sure. Maybe Sunsfan deserved the punch more than you. I'm not sure yet.
I know one of us hasn't killed somebody, and I know it's not me. Jeez, your face. Oh my God.
Figure out, is that a word trick?
All right, anyway, so yeah, great discussion, guys. I really think the next major is going to be amazing, and I just have concerns that I think it will be putting Dota in a direction I don't particularly think it should go, but maybe you're right.
All right,
maybe
last question about that.
Yeah.
Sunsfan, what do you think about the suits and ties and the overall dress wear of the
I
talent?
hate it.
Why?
I fucking hate it.
I like
Why
it.
do you
So
hate it?
wait, Sunsfan, what is your ideal attire for that panel? Like, are you like t-shirts and blazers? Is that what you're feeling?
Like I'm fine with like a blazer over a t-shirt, like halfway there.
Ugh,
That's the
fine with
worst
that.
one, dude. That is actually the worst.
I think suit and tie, it's like you're just trying too hard at a certain point. Like every time
Oh
I
my
look
God.
at an esports panel, they're wearing suits, I cringe, literally.
Sunsfan, how the
Oh.
fuck is a fucking jacket over a t-shirt not trying too hard? How
Shit,
is that
that's
not
how
no, hold
normal
on.
people feel.
That's me.
Professional.
That's me appeasing you guys. If it was up to me, to be wearing t-shirts
It's
and
the
shorts
most
and sandals.
half-assed appeasing ever.
Dude, if it was up to me, I'd be wearing my pajamas, which I'm wearing right now.
That's
Oh
the
my
thing.
God.
You're not a proper judge here. Does anybody else feel the way Sunsfan does,
No.
but for better reasons?
No,
that we
not
can
at all.
talk
I
about?
think t-shirt blazer is actually the worst. I think if you just want to go full casual, go like t-shirt and just be like, hey, we're here and we're casual, that's cool. It makes a statement. I don't think it's appropriate for the panel. But if you put a blazer on over a t-shirt, you just look confused. You look like you woke up and your mom yelled at you and you said, okay, fine, I'll put on the jacket before I go to work.
Yeah.
And
No,
then
I
you just
think-
sat down.
How we've been doing it so far is good. That's all I'm saying. Is that I like the stuff that we've done in the past at Dota. I like the mix of Purge wears a beautiful 3-piece suit. Everybody's having fun on the panel, but then there's a little bit of fun thrown into it. All I'm saying is I don't want that to change, and I feel that that's what will happen after Shanghai, and I don't want it to.
Yeah.
So hopefully I've put my position on there. I like it. I like what we have so far. Don't change it, is what I'm saying.
I think the dress has really improved in general, though. Like, over the last year, there's a noticeable difference. Like, once it got to the point where we've had a lot of panels at a lot of big events, and you start to notice certain talent that wear, like, they have, like, 3 shirts, and you see them the same 3 days, every tournament, and we don't see that as much anymore. Everyone's gone shopping. I think people have really realized, like, it's important to look good when you're on a panel. Like,
I just wish it was more organized, because right now the way
100%
it works
agree.
is you get invited to an event and we're like, what's the attire? You ask the organizers and they're like, oh, I don't know, just like dress clothes, shirt, tie, whatever you want. They'll say stuff like that. So everybody will show up to the event. Everybody will have different levels of dress, different levels of what they plan to wear. Like, I showed up to Frankfurt, I was like, this is a fucking major. I'm going to wear a fucking suit and tie every day. Every single day. And then other people talk, they're like, the group gets together, caster group, and they're like, what are we going to wear? And everybody has different ideas. So they're like, oh, well, this person doesn't have a tie, so we should not make him look bad, so we won't wear a tie. But then it's like, but then everybody's levels of what they're planning to wear are different. So then I'm like, fuck this, I brought a tie. I spent a bunch of money on nice clothes. Like, I'm going to wear them because I want to look how I assume they want me to look. And I got a lot of compliments as well. So it's like, it's not organized properly by the organizers. It's not organized well by talent. Like, there were some days on Shanghai where, like, Winter would just be wearing a shirt and pants. And one day he was wearing pants that looked like jeans or something like that. And other people had suits on. And some people didn't have ties. And some people did. Like, at the very least, I think jacket is a minimum, in my opinion, unless everybody doesn't have a jacket. And
I think it is okay for some, like, variety. If, you know, for example, the host is like, you can have some people wearing ties, some people look really good with a nice, like, if you're wearing a really nice shirt and it's open and like sometimes Red Eye just goes with like 2 buttons undone with a shirt that has a nice collar, like that stands out and looks good. And it's not that you need everyone to be homogenous. I don't think we need to go full league where everyone is blazer off, vest, rolled up sleeves. Like, all right, I was really dressed up, but I had to ditch the jacket and roll up the sleeves to get dirty. Like, all right, I've had enough of that look. But I totally agree, Pridge. I think even coordinating colors.
Just imagine a jacket over this shirt. Look how that would look so good on a panel.
If you at least wear like a shirt and a tie, I'm totally cool with that as well. Like either shirt tie or shirt jacket.
Like a dress shirt is what you're talking about.
A dress shirt with a tie. If you don't want to wear I think if it looks,
shirt with a collar.
It's a good shirt and it's a good tie, then I think that's
Wait,
totally
does a polo count as a shirt with a collar?
No, that really doesn't count. It's only 2 buttons, and both are optional. Is that a polo, Slacks?
No. What are we talking about? We're good.
It just needs to be organized a bit more because everybody kind of looks a little different every day.
Yeah.
And how you look is part of the presentation. Like most days, I do not give a shit. But if I'm there to be a visual representation of somebody that knows the game well, then I should not look like a fucking slob.
And I think it also really matters if you're doing panel versus casting. Because casting, sure, you're on the camera at the beginning for 30 seconds or whatever, but your job is to cast. People are mostly there for your voice, your analysis, what you're saying. That's what's there. When you're on the panel, a lot more of your job is about presentation, how you look, and how you engage with people. What you're saying is important, but you got to look the part, man. People are judging you for what you look like. It matters. It really matters.
That's what I think.
I know.
Should dress their part.
I used to have dreads.
Like, if I'm I'm an analyst, I'm Purge. Let me wear my press suit that, my maid did for me before I hit her. That's like he can do it. And I come on the panel, I'm just in my t-shirt having a nice time. That's on the panel,
I know that Slacks is kidding, but I actually fully agree with that. Like, look at Bruno.
That Purge hits his maid?
The stuff that Bruno would wear is not serious at all. Right?
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that he wasn't not serious all the time. Like there's a level. Like Bruno dressing wacky is essentially a joke. He did it on purpose. But I don't think that just because Slacks is going to be on a panel to be funny and to tell jokes doesn't mean that he can't dress really fucking nice, then show up and be really funny and act like an idiot. Because then it's more obvious as well that he's acting like an idiot. If he dresses really nice and he looks really good and he does his hair nice, like, and then he makes jokes, then you're like, wow, that guy's funny. He's making it more funny, but he's also dressed nice. Like that's like a positive. It's like all right, if you make jokes about you being an idiot, we'll call it a negative. And then if you dress well, that's a positive. That'd be like enough negatives that it's funny, but not so many negatives that you're like, this guy's a fucking slob. It's like balancing that out, I think, is really important. It might be part of the reason that Slacks is so polarizing to Reddit commenters. Some of almost, I would say, as a whole, most people like you right now. But there's definitely a small subset. They're like, I fucking hate Slacks. Like, I just don't think he's funny and stuff like that, which I don't agree with at all. But I think it's like, you need a balance of stuff sometimes.
I agree, yeah. Those are the only smart people, the people that hate me. I hate myself, so. Everyone else that likes me, you're fucking idiots. Man, all right, we're way off topic. Where are we moving?
My God, Slacks. We're close to the end here, man. We've been going at it for well over an hour.
Because I'm wearing a fucking blazer. If I was just naked, you'd be like, this guy's kidding. He's joking. Look at him. What a goof. I'm put on the suit. You're like, oh my God, does he have mental problems? Oh my God. Is he going to be okay? Send me a whisper.
He hasn't shaved in a few days. It looks like he might be a little hang.
If you showed up in a straitjacket for a bit on a panel, that would be fucking amazing.
That would actually be so
Hello,
funny.
Dream League. Write that one down. All right. Anyway, where we go? We should move on.
I wanted to ask you about Dream League, Slacks. What's going on with that? I saw that Reddit thread the other day, huh?
Hi, I'm hosting Dream League. I don't know why.
Is that all you know?
No. Let's see. I leave in 4 days. I'm going to be in Sweden for 7 weeks. They're providing me with an apartment in downtown Stockholm.
God damn, I'm jealous.
I'm going down there. They're giving me a computer I can stream with. It's only 2 best of 2s per day. So it's going to be, about 5 hours, 4 hours of work. And I get to go home and play video games all day. It's pretty much what every person in their life would dream about. I'm super excited. I won't get too personal about me on this because it's What the Duck, but I'm super stoked about it because it's going to be a chance for me to show that I can have kind of a more professional tone. It will give me a lot of work on a panel that I'm super excited about. I've always dreamed of hosting and being on panels. This is my chance. If I fuck it up, I'll never be invited to anything, but if I do okay, maybe I can get my long-term impossible goal of being invited to a Valve event. So it's a huge deal for me. Good luck to me. That's all I'll say about it. OG is going to be at the tournament. I'm really excited. I also like the tournament, too, because it brings in fun. They like to try to keep things light and interesting.
Are you ready for the red button, Slacks?
I'm ready. So we'll see how it goes. It should be a lot of fun, man.
Is there a LAN at the end?
There is a LAN at the end of the
DreamHack
LAN finals. And I'll be going to that as well. So
DreamHack Summer, man.
anyway,
Congratulations,
Have you ever been to a DreamHack, Slacks? At all, like the actual LAN? Oh, it's a sight to see. You're gonna love it.
Is it?
All the kids bring their computers from home. Thousands of people. On the opening day, you'll see them. They all bring their computer chairs, too. So it's a bunch of kids in a parking lot with a computer chair and a PC and a monitor and everything all stacked up, and they're all just running, pushing their gear as fast as they can towards the venue to stand in line for hours upon hours to then sleep in a disgusting pit of sorrow for 4 days. It's unlike anything I've ever seen before.
So they sleep at the event because they can't afford hotels, I'm guessing.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. A lot of the people there, you buy the all access ticket. I forget what it's called. You get a little table spot, and then it's just a giant expo hall with nothing in it. So you just bring sleeping bags or what have you, and just pick up some territory and just leave your shit there, and then go game, and then come back and sleep whenever you want. But it's weird. I mean, people like take pictures of you while you're sleeping and run around and yell and say things to you in Swedish and canoodle. It's scary. It's scary and gross.
If anybody's watching from Dream League, just know that Slacks loves to eat reindeer.
Oh.
That was probably the best thing I had in Sweden. Was reindeer stroganoff. I ate it. I didn't know what it was. I thought it was just beef stroganoff.
It was good, man.
It was reindeer. I'm like, holy crap! It's actually really good.
Oh yeah, all their catered meals while we were there for the qualifiers were great.
It was legit.
I'm actually gonna treat it like I'm going to prison. That's my goal. I want to work out every day, just stay in my apartment playing video games, then go out and do my community service by hosting the tournament. When I get home, I won't be ripped, I've been in fucking jail for 2 months. I'm pretty excited.
Oh, the LAN is actually not at DreamHack. Sorry, I was wrong.
If you ever eaten Swedish food, it's kind of like being in prison. So I don't. Reindeer?
I really didn't think it was. It just
thought it was
reminded me of
good.
home cooked meals. That
Yeah.
all the meals were like that, just like
The classic
really
Swedish,
good hearty stuff.
the meatballs, mashed potatoes, and those little berries, man. The linden berries or whatever. Those bitches are good.
Yeah, there were so many good meals there.
I like
really
them.
liked them.
Get down. I'm jealous,
Rascals,
Slacks.
yeah.
Downtown Stockholm, that's a cool area. Very expensive, very hard to get access to. Have fun,
Well,
man. Go
also-
crazy.
Also, like prison, there's gonna be psychopaths there. So.
And a lot of kebabs.
Try not to drop the soap there, Draskell. Please don't stab me.
Jesus,
There we go.
Okay, I was like, who's the? If you talking
Draskell,
about
dude.
Syrian migrants or
Draskell.
something? Is this some political
Imagine
joke?
being locked in a room with Draskell when the lights go out. I'm just saying, prison.
He would just
As
be
soon
over
as
there
I see
monitoring
him-
around playing Dota, dude. What are you talking about?
I've seen the way he looks at me when we're alone. Like he's gonna shank me. I'm fucking terrified of that kid. Anyway, moving
good.
right along.
Slacks, that's all we got. Unless you want to talk about that missing gear that just disappeared after the Perfect World Tournament. Apparently, they lost ROTK's car keys to his Maserati. That sucks.
Dang. Oh
Yeah.
no! What is he gonna do now?
Wait.
Get a new set of keys?
Yeah, that's all they meant,
no!
right? That it wasn't anything more than just the keys.
Yeah, I
right?
think it was just the
Whoa.
keys.
Not the
You can't-
Maserati.
dude.
That's $50.
You can't. No, it's not. You can't just get new keys. You have to re-key the car because somebody has your fucking car keys and can literally steal your car.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
have to pay somebody
It's like changing
to
your locks.
Yeah, you have to get somebody to change your fucking locks on your car.
Oh no!
I think that
that's like
sucks.
$150. Oh
I'm
God!
sure it's more than $150.
Probably have to go to the Maserati dealership, Slacks. I bet it's a whole pain in the ass.
I don't give a shit.
I-
Who fucking who?
Well, that's
PPD
it.
got his keyboard
All right.
stolen. He's a goddamn millionaire. I don't give a shit.
Oh,
Buy another one, you piece of crap.
that's what they should have said. Sorry, Ramses, you can afford to buy another keyboard, you idiot. Why would you have
Ramses,
trusted us with
Ramses
this?
isn't a millionaire. I'm pretty sure ROTK is a millionaire, though.
No, you're
I'm
you're
just
right.
kidding. Of course I'm kidding. That's actually horrible. Especially like their laptops and shit got jacked. And
Yeah,
do you guys
man.
believe the Marriott letter, or do you think that's bullshit? The whole.
I
just
read
take
it
'em.
and then forgot about it. What did it actually say?
It was like this leaked thing from this guy that worked at the Marriott, and he's like, yeah, they told us, they're millionaires, they won't care, just take it, sell it, do whatever you want, we have to get it out of here. I think that thing was bullshit. But
yeah, it kind of seemed like it. I
don't
just
know.
am so confused how somebody paid to clean rooms is not going to walk into those rooms and be like, huh, there's a lot of personal shit in here. They made no effort at all to clean it. It clearly seems like there's still like expensive shit here, and they didn't call somebody and be like, hey,
Yeah.
there's a bunch of shit in this room. What should we do? And then the person on the other line didn't say, let's look into it before telling you to throw it away. Like, I just
Laptops
can't
are a big
imagine
deal,
a
man.
company
Why would
that
you
could
just
do that.
assume that somebody ditched their laptop in China? Like, even if you're a millionaire, you still have like information on there. You still got to access your $1 million bank account on your fucking laptop. Why would you just ditch it?
counter argument here. I was a resident advisor for 4 years, a hall director for 1, and sometimes really rich kids, they just leave their entire room. Like, literally, my entire house is shit that rich kids left behind in their dorms. They just be like, see ya! They'd be like giant
Alright.
TVs, fucking
what else?
computers. I'm not kidding around. Like, literally, they would just leave the dorm room and be like, okay, done! And then
I mean,
that's it.
I
On the
believe
last
it.
day of, it's true, a college life. I'd
Lazy
actually go
rich
through the-
kids.
Yeah,
Fuck it.
I go to the dumpsters and be like, what do we got here? What do we got? Is this a full couch with no... Does it even smell kind of like piss? I'll take it. Like, that was my whole life. So, yeah, literally. The desk you see, everything in the background, all stolen from rich kids who left it. So what are you going to do? I mean...
Okay.
That's why you're having trouble sympathizing here, because you were like, oh, I would have been all about that.
That would have been me!
I would've made
Holy
the phone
shit!
call. I would have cleared out every
Oh, isn't
room.
that the Slack's
Is
tradition
this
to take
EE's
something from
laptop?
every land?
Yeah, right.
Mine.
What's that, gods? You don't need those extra still boxed brand new computer chairs in the garage? I'd be happy to mail one to myself. Thank you for being so generous at this tournament.
There's our What the Duck story at the end of the day. Oh my god, my Twitch share. But,
Maybe that's it. It's actually story time, Slacks. You want to tell that story?
Is that it? Are we done?
Is that the
Are
whole
we
story?
done?
What else do you want to talk about? What else has happened? It's
I don't know. I've missed you guys. It's been so long. We were a family
know.
at Captain's Draft. we slept on couches together, huddled for
I
warmth,
do
and
want to say about C Kappa, that is not a Moonduck Run tournament. Just because it has Kappa in the title and we are known for many memes. Seriously, like 4 people have messaged me all pissed off, like, why didn't you tell us? Seriously, I thought you would have invited us to do coverage. I'm like, what? And then I realized, yep, that's not us, guys. We're just the English coverage. I mean, it's a great tournament. I like it, but we don't have the I've got no power. I'm not running the show. Although I did admin a game the other day. I'm good
to
at doing
know.
coin flips.
Good to know. Does anyone else have a story? Are we good?
That was my story.
All right, let me tell you some stories about some shit I've got from tournaments. I love
shit.
this.
Slacks has a good
Here we go.
one. All right.
There we go. We got a couple. The first, I've always had a thing where at every tournament I go to, I want to see if I can take a memento home. Most people take badges. I try to take keyboards and shit. I try to just steal expensive things, basically. Nah, I've always dreamed of it. I'll tell someone at tournament, like, man, these keyboards are real good. You got any extras? They'll be like, yeah, maybe. Well, anyway. I'm at Summit 3, I think it was. Yeah, Summit 3. And I really want a Twitch chair. Like, all the popular streamers have Twitch chairs, and I want one bad. And I'm like, yeah, Daddy's gonna get a Twitch chair. So I go up to LD, and at this house, they have, like, shitload of them. I go in the garage, there's just a shitload of Twitch chairs in the garage. I go up to LD, and I'm like, hey, man, how much for one of these Twitch chairs, bro? You wanna unload one? And he's like, I don't know, go ask Gods. I go ask Gods, and he's starting to drink. He's taking some shots. It's the after party. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna wait a few hours till Gods is fucking destroyed. I go up to Gods, and I'm like, yo, Gods, I'll pay you for one of these Twitch chairs. How much, buddy? And he goes, you want a chair? If you can fucking get it out of here, you can have it, bro. Where do you live? Colorado? Good luck. I'm like, oh. Okay, so I pick one up and I put it in the fucking car, go to a UPS, $50. Send myself a Twitch chair.
It was only $50 shipping?
Shit, yeah, dude. It was fucking, those shits are like $400.
How is that only $50 to ship?
They're pretty
did that-
heavy, too.
I did that in like 10 minutes. Yeah, they're like, if you can get it out of here, that shit's really heavy. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
I got super strength.
We got a fuckload of them
out there was some free
from a
shit.
sponsorship. And once they're put together, they're hard to take apart and rebox. So we said, you want a bag? They said, nah, just keep them. We were like, well, now what do we do with all these fucking chairs? All right.
So
Give 'em
next
to
morning
Slacks.
comes along, Gods and LD. They're like, hey, man, how'd the chair thing go? And I'm like, yeah, I sent it. They're like, what? We were kind of kidding. How did you get it out of the house? And I was like, I got it. It's mine now. It's still here. I actually, sad thing, that version of the Twitch chair is only able to support about 180 pounds. So, yeah, we've had some problems with it. I may have broken 4 of the legs and had some wood put on it. It's currently being repaired, but it's all about, the looks, right? I ain't 180 pounds, but I am going to solder the legs back on so that Twitch thinks I'm popular. I will say that. So, yeah, that was one thing. Another thing, at the Mafia Land, Charlie Yang was supposed to drive me home with EG in their car. I wake up in the morning, I go out there, and I'm like, hey, Charlie, you got room for me? And he goes, oh, shit. What? And I was like, yeah, you got room for me? And he's like, no. Find a taxi or something. And I'm like, okay. And I'm walking away, and then he goes, hey, wait. You can have this, kid. And it was a set of headphones. So that was another...
Like a $5 iPod with like earwax on it, or like
Nah, like a new set of SteelSeries. It was like that scene where the Coke commercial where he throws him a towel, except it was Charlie Yang's angry face. Hey, take these fucking headphones. I can't fit these either. Oh, thank you, sir. So yeah, that was another one. Yeah, I get shit like that all the
And
time.
then when
It's
we
great.
run our own tournament, you leave stuff here instead of taking it.
That's right. I leave stuff a lot too. I've left sweatpants at people's houses, t-shirts. It's real rough.
What did he
I
leave
stole a
at
camera.
CD3?
Oh, look what I stole at the Moonduck Land. All right, great.
Oh, he
Yeah,
actually
that's
took
all.
something. Okay.
Now, we buy these expensive-ass cameras, right? But guess who wasn't fucking looking out for this guy? Oh! Sorry, Suns fam.
It's okay. We have plenty.
Anyway, you invite me to something, I'm going to steal something very expensive. That's just how life
Oh, and we're
works.
supposed to send you a monitor too, right?
Yeah!
Oh,
I don't
God.
steal it. People just give it to me. Nobody
Yeah.
asks.
I
That
just feel
damn
sorry
monitor.
for you.
I missed the return
sorry.
date by one
Take
day.
the 60 hertz monitor, please.
Dude, no one else would
want it
take it.
anymore.
We were about to like throw it away. JJ was like, "You should literally just throw it in the garbage. It's that useless." I'm like, "It's a brand new monitor. Okay, it's not 140 hertz. Sorry,
I'll
Jesus.
take it.
I'm sure a high school would love to have it. AKA Slacks. There you go. Good stuff.
Whatever, you stole stuff too, Zyari.
Me?
Oh no, that was JJ. JJ went home with a keyboard and had a fucking heart attack about it from one of the majors.
I did take an
Calls up-
XLR cable from BTS when I left. I will admit. I did take an
got him.
XLR cable. I really showed him who was boss. I was like, I came here with a microphone and no cable. I'm leaving with a cable. That's what's happening. I think I earned that. Although I was shown it earlier. One of the coolest mementos I have from BTS is I have a signed shirt from the winners of the Summit 2. Now, let's see, who is it actually? Who was on DK? It's Ice Ice Ice, Mushi, Burning, Lanham, and MMY. So pretty badass, huh? I was supposed to
badass.
get it from my friend, but then it was so cool that I just kept it and never gave it to him. So
Oh, that's
now I don't know what to do with it.
you're a thief and a shit friend.
Yep. That's
damn.
yep. And I only
I'll
go, please.
one more story
One more.
about things.
Okay.
Okay, I try to never take things from fans because they always want them back, and it's the weirdest thing. I was at the line for TI4. Dendy's in line, and I'm like, I'm going to get an interview with Dendy. He agrees to it. I'm like, yeah, this is awesome. Great. And this guy in line's like, hey, he's like a friend of mine. He's like, hey, man, take my Pudge plushie and get Dendy to sign it. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I kind of don't want to because, I have to wait a couple hours for the interview. And then how am I going to get it back to you? And he's like, don't worry about it, man. Just get it signed, and I'll meet up with you. And I was like, oh, this seems like a lot of pressure. I don't really want to do this. And he's like, just do it. So I take it. I interview Dendy. I get it signed. I'm out of time. I go home. I get this email. He goes, hey, where the fuck's my plushie? And I'm like, no, I told you I didn't want to do it. I mean, you can give me your address or something. He's like, I'm going to Europe. I got 1 week. I need my plushie now. I want to take pictures with it in several different locations in Paris. And I was like, I asked you not to give it to me, and I still have it. And then another guy did that with a fucking Omni Knight costume. He's like, bro, wear this Omni Knight costume in your next video. I was like, I really don't want that. I really don't. Please don't give that to me. And he's like, just do it. It's not a big deal if you keep it. You get a fucking text message on Skype every day for the next 3 months. Where's my Omni Knight costume? Bro, don't give me shit, all right? You're never getting it back. I don't go to the fucking post office. You give me something, you'll never see it again.
Unless you get a Twitch chair, then you'll go immediately.
That's me taking something. I go to the post office very quickly when I'm taking things. Don't give me anything, okay? You'll never see it again. I have fucking 10 different things from different events I said I would send to my fans. Summit 4, every single signature from anyone there. I don't go to the fucking post office. Nobody cares about this anymore. I keep forgetting. Don't send me shit. Don't give me shit. And don't give me anything, all right? I'm sorry.
How's that Pimp Your Peon voice pack coming, Slacks?
Oh, God, Bob. Oh, fuck. Oh, Bobby's going to kill me.
I haven't done it yet either. We need to do that, man.
I think it's over, dude. I don't think
we
Bobby
missed
gets to fuck anymore.
All right. Well, I feel bad about that. I told him yes for like a year.
What am I going to do? I can't remember to do that shit.
Right. Yeah.
Anyways,
shit came
Purge,
up.
you all right? Tell us a story, buddy. You look pretty bored. What have you stolen from an event, Purge? Besides hearts?
A lot of at TI, this last TI, I would always get granola bars in between like newbie stream games to keep my energy up, and I'm pretty sure I was eating granola bars that was from like the stage crew, not like the casting talent, because they had granola bars that I preferred. So I'm quite sure that I was stealing it from like people that actually work at Key Arena as a job.
Unacceptable.
That kind of a thing.
You're an animal.
I think that's
You
about
piece
it,
of shit, you dirty son of a bitch.
Stole granola.
I mean,
bars.
it was like-
Granolas.
It was like 4 granola bars a day. That's at least like $2 of economic distress.
Dude, TI2 is when I ate the most Snickers I've ever had in my life, and I don't regret it.
More than
I don't
one.
care how fat.
More
I've
than
gotten.
Mott, dude? 3
they were-
bags in one afternoon?
But he ate this time. Like I'm talking about regular size Snicker bars for literally breakfast, lunch, and dinner, essentially.
A
TI2.
man-sized Snickers.
This
That's
explains a lot.
It explains the diabetes.
Oh, my. Jesus Christ.
I drink a Coke and I go to sleep.
God.
That's how I sleep these days.
Your poor pancreas, dude. You probably are diabetic. My God.
Wow, this is getting pretty dark.
Jesus. All right. So is that it? Are we out of stories? Are we going to wrap this thing up? Are we going to do more What the Ducks in the future, guys? Is it going to be
No,
another
this is
month
it.
before we do
See
another
ya.
one?
This is it.
I mean, Jesus. All right.
We're closing down. All
All
right.
right,
Thanks
well.
for coming.
Enjoy C Kappa, guys. We've got more coverage coming up. It actually starts in like 5 hours, 6 hours, I think. Maybe a little bit longer than that. Mott's casting tonight, and then I'm picking up coverage again tomorrow. So all sorts of SEA funsies there. That's it.
Are we
Oh.
selling out? Go watch the Dirt Mall Finals. Nigma No Name versus Wicked Cosplays. Happening
Yeah.
right now. Hey.
I forgot about Dirt Mall. Slacks did Dirt Mall. Good job, Slacks.
Yeah, good for me. Great for me. All right, moving on.
Go watch the finals. Find What the Duck on iTunes, rate it, and that kind of stuff. And the VOD's going to be on YouTube and moonducktv/podcast if you're one of those podcast subscribers that listens at work. We heart you, audio-only listeners. That's it. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.